Very good. So, Bruce, we need to wait on an administrative hearing at 9:05?
Yes.
That's how efficient we are. I will say, Mr. President, if you wouldn't mind, that Susan and Crystal and I last week went on the Warren County Soil and Water Conservation Tour and learned about, a little more about what they do, but some of the active projects that they work on. And if you've not been over to the site that is right next door to the Warren County Foundation, it's definitely worth taking a trip over, because there's all sorts of exhibits around what residents can do to help conserve water and deal with erosion, and the kinds of plants that they can plant that are indigenous to the area, and also help attract the kind of insects that we need. So it's a really great exhibit. Some interesting types of hardscapes that are better for erosion. So I definitely learned a lot, and it was nice to see Susan and Crystal in hard hats as we toured some active construction to see how they deal with the erosion and the protection of water and other natural resources. So it was a really great event. And I'm grateful to Warren County Soil and Water Conservation for what they do, but inviting us to participate in that day, it was really, I thought it was worthwhile.
Well, awesome, thank you. I guess I should give a brief in the 2 minutes before our administrative hearing. Some of these things we have to do by the book. We just concluded a phenomenal week of the one global sports asset that we have in the state of Ohio, the tennis tournament. Record attendance, record amount of people coming into the county, more than 200,000 people, hopefully more than $75 million worth of an economic impact for the region, and it was awesome. It was, I was there for quite a few of the corporate discussions on some of the sponsorship levels, and these people were just so impressed, and how can we be part of this, not just for the 2 weeks of the tournament, but for the entire branding of that facility when it goes into being hopefully the pickleball mecca of the Midwest, and all the things that go along with that, that these major national brands are here and interested in investing money in Warren County. So hopefully that continues, and the cities, the counties, and the state's investment is really turning the corner starting today as they start the major construction there of all the real heavy construction stuff that's about to go on. Martin, would you say that's a safe assessment?
Yeah, no, actually, I had an opportunity to talk to some folks, and literally, I mean, if we probably drove out there today, it would be talk about hard hats and things, as they're literally starting today the next phase of the construction to get ready for 25, where it, you know, moves to that 2 weeks phase. So yeah, it goes from tennis one day to a construction site the next.
It actually started last night. I was there
Oh, really?
late last night, and they had ladders out, and
Okay,
yeah, they were
yeah.
starting. So, very good. We'll begin an administrative hearing. We have it's at 9:05. This board is scheduled for an administrative hearing on the application of Union Village Special District 3A PUD Stage 2 in Turtle Creek Township. For the record, if the clerk would please read into the record what documents have been filed on this matter.
So an application was filed, a site plan, and a letter requesting review of the PUD Stage 2. And legal notices were published in the Journal News on August 4th, 2024, and legal notices were mailed to adjacent property owners within 500 feet on July 31st, 2024.
Very good. Since this is an administrative hearing, it's much like a judicial proceeding. So if you think you're going to testify in this matter, I'm going to swear you in. If you'd please stand up. Raise your right hand. Thank you. Do you so solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. And just as you come up and speak, just please identify that, yes, I've been sworn in. And if you haven't been sworn in and decide to speak, I'll do it at that time. Thank you. Just trying to expedite things. Staff, would you go ahead and let us know what's going on here?
Yep. So good morning, Commissioners. My name is Cameron Krasinski with RPC, and this morning I'll be going over the Union Village Special District 3A PUD Stage 2. This is in Turtle Creek Township. Before I begin my presentation, just want to let you know that the applicant is also here in case you have any questions of them after the presentation. So looking at the subdivision review process, this is part of the overall Union Village PUD. So PUD Stage 1 was approved back in October of 2014. And the PUD Stage 2 for this site has gone to the RPC Executive Committee back in June, where they recommended approval of this PUD Stage 2, and it's here today for your decision. Looking at the general information, the applicant is Jeffrey R. Anderson. The property owner is Otterbein Homes. Site address is 0 State Route 741 and 63. The parcel size is 32.535 acres of an overall 52.1626 acre parcel. It will be subdivided out. And the proposed lot area is 2.043 acres. Current zoning is PUD Special District 3.
What does proposed lot area mean versus parcel size?
We'll go over that. There's one particular area that they're looking to develop, but it's part of an overall parcel. So here is a vicinity map showing the location of the site. It's at the southeast corner of State Route 63 and State Route 741, just north of the estates at Keever Creek subdivision. And here's just a closer look at the site. You can see it's heavily wooded.
And this is part of the Union Village PUD?
Correct, yep. It stretches all the way down to this bottom portion here as well.
Okay.
So here's a look at the actual regulating plan. So here you can see the layout of Union Village. There's actually split between two different zones, being the Special District 3, and you can see that red dashed outline, as well as the civic open space. So here is a look at the proposal. You can see the 2.043 acres there on the left. It's worth noting for the future development areas that are listed, it will require site plan review before this board as those lots actually develop. So going over their proposal, it starts with a 6,372 square foot convenience store. That's the Wawa that you see listed, as well as a 10 pump gas station. And there are 3 access points that are proposed. 2 are along State Route 63 and 1 along State Route 741. It is worth noting that this access point here will be a full access drive, but will eventually transition into a right in, right out drive. This eastern connection along 63 will be a full access drive, and along 741 is a right in, right out drive. There's an 8-foot street buffer that's proposed along 63 and State Route 741. This is a decrease from the required street buffer along both state routes from 15 feet to 8 feet. Looking at the environmental features, as I mentioned, the site is heavily wooded. There's a 17.8 acre environmental covenant area that currently exists on the subject site. And the applicant's looking to add an additional conservation area over the environmental covenant area.
Can I just stop you there?
Yes.
Can you go back one slide? So a 17-acre environmental covenant area existing, are you telling me that's area that won't be developed?
Correct.
Okay, so 17.8 acres not developed remains as a buffer.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And that's where, topography-wise, if I remember correctly, that's a gully and all
Right,
that. I mean,
it's
it's
a
just
ravine.
heavily wooded, you
Right.
can't really develop there.
Right, correct. Yeah, there is a stream that goes through as well. But just looking at the dimensions of that conservation area, again, it's 17.8 acres. It's just under 1,600 feet long in length, and it stretches, at least on this western side, it's about 357 feet in width, and it goes up to just about 700 feet up along 63. So at minimum, there's a 357 foot buffer there. Again, there's also that stream that runs through the property, that's Station Creek. And here's just one more look at the signage that's proposed as part of this application. And just briefly going through the recommendations, staff does recommend approval of the Union Village Special District 3A PUD Stage 2 to the Warren County Board of Commissioners, subject to the following conditions. There's 13 total conditions, and those are included in your report. Just wanted to highlight a couple for you. Number 4, all proposed common open spaces and improvements and maintenance of such areas are ensured through an appropriate legal instrument. An infrastructure maintenance program such as a sinking fund shall be established for all stormwater facilities. 6, fire hydrant locations shall be approved by the Turtle Creek Township Fire Department. 9, the internal driveways and traffic circulation shall be reviewed and approved by the Warren County Engineers Office. The site's internal driveway improvements shall be installed prior to the zoning permit application. 10, compliance with the requirements of the Ohio Department of Transportation. All proposed access points shall be approved by ODOT, and ODOT shall determine whether each access point is full access or limited access, and at what point in access shall be limited access. Any improvements deemed necessary by ODOT or the Warren County Engineers Office shall be installed by the developer. A traffic impact analysis shall be done prior to PUD Stage 3. 11, at final plat review, the applicant shall dedicate the required right-of-way along State Route 63 and State Route 741, and that would be in accordance with the approved PUD Stage 2 site plan. Here are the final 2 conditions that are on the screen, but with that, that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
So let's go back to the slide showing the wooded area. So you're saying that 17.8 already exists, and then they're gonna change that to a more stringent protection level?
Yeah, the conservation area, that'll be placed on the plat, so at the time of when this site gets platted, they'll have a conservation area for those 17.8 acres. So no structures can be built in or no trees can be removed.
Which essentially means those woods are staying there between the proposed new development and the subdivision.
That's correct.
So they're, once that type of a covenant area goes on top of it, you can't change it.
Right, it would have to go back through the process to get that actually removed.
Okay. And the traffic that ins and outs of this new proposed development, this is 2 state routes and a corner, so ODOT's going to determine what's appropriate, correct?
Correct, yeah, for each access, yeah. And the timing for when the full access will turn into a right in, right out.
All right, thank you. Who's the applicant? Do you have any questions for staff?
For staff, I do not have any questions.
Very good. Well, since you're up, go ahead and come forward.
Sure. So my name is J.R. Anderson with Jeffrey Anderson Real Estate Inc.
And have you been sworn in?
Pardon?
Have you been sworn in?
Yes, I've been sworn in, so I apologize.
Thank you.
So any questions you have of us, but what staff was mentioning, so we are under contract to buy approximately 8 acres of that entire acreage there from Union Village. And so we'll be developing that, but like they mentioned, the conservation easement, which you mentioned. Some other things to clarify, we have completed the traffic study, impact study. It's been submitted to ODOT, working through ODOT right now on any of those questions that they might have. But the curb cuts shown are based upon the traffic impact study that was conducted. And then the remaining, what we show on the plan, just from clarification, so we do have Wawa immediately coming forward. We have 3 remaining lots that are shown on the rest of the parcels. So we'll be coming back in front of you guys for those 3 remaining lots when we identify those.
But that's
lots.
all essentially on State Route 63?
Yeah, all along 63, yep.
And the woods, you have no plan to ever touch the woods?
So
there?
I'm not buying those woods, so I'm just buying the 8 acres in front, and the conservation easement rests and continues to stay, I believe, with the Otterbein Homes.
Okay, so this is just, you potentially would have a couple more businesses that would come in to that area?
Yeah, it's just along the front. It shows on the plan, there's some roads, but yes, any of my road which backs up to the conservation easement, I have 3 additional lots along 63.
Okay.
So.
Very good, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone want to speak in favor of this development? Don't everybody jump up at once. Very good. Is there an opponent to this development that would like to speak?
I will. I'm not good at this.
Oh, you're fine, it's fine. We're just having a conversation.
Good morning, my name is Barbara Murphy. My husband here. We are currently the residents at the very end of Oxen Pass. So all this construction, we can see, we can hear the traffic, the sirens. It's all basically our backyard.
Do you
The
live,
question-
is that in Kiever Estates?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, we are, if you come down Oxen Pass, which is the first left, we are the very end house.
Very good. And have you been sworn in?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. One of the main questions for us is, how are you gonna keep people from turning into our neighborhood? When they come down 75, 63, and make a right to come down 741, thinking that they can turn into this Wawa from 741, and they can't. They're gonna go past it, look for a place to turn around, and it's either gonna be the ODOT building on their right, or it's gonna be our neighborhood on the left. We work very hard in our neighborhood to keep it looking nice. We mow property that's not ours, just to keep our neighborhood looking nice for our future. This entrance is constantly being run over by UPS, FedEx, every other kind of car that comes through there, thinking it's a turnaround. How are you gonna keep people from using our entrance as a turnaround?
Probably can't, simply because it's a public road.
Okay, so is there a fund or something that can be set up for the fixing of our landscaping that is eventually gonna get run over?
Yeah. Yeah, it's,
Yes, but the island is not. We take care of the island. We plant the trees, we plant the flowers, we mow it. It's coming out of our HOA budget.
Do we have a picture that we can go back to that shows this? I'd like to see that, thank you.
Would you like the site plan?
Yeah, I want to see what is being discussed here. If you've got an overview of this, can you, is it? I think that the road is a little bit further to the south, okay, and that's. So you're talking about the road that comes off of 741?
741,
Okay, and the ODOT's across the street, and you're saying that people mistakenly come into your neighborhood?
they use it, they think, and there's a little sign on the top of it that says no outlet, but people turn into there anyway because it's what they think is a shortcut between 741 and 63 to avoid that intersection. Yeah, we've had trucks and everything, we have boulders around the island that we've paid for.
Well, I was gonna say, staff did also go out to Oxen Pass, and we took some photos, so you can see the star at the bottom, here, just so you can see what the buffer looks like currently. This was taken last Friday.
I don't think that's her complaint.
No, that's the house to our,
Her concern deals with incidental traffic mistakenly coming onto their driveway, or it's a public road though, but you have a HOA in this neighborhood, and the HOA has some sort of a feature at the entranceway demarking the neighborhood, is that what's going on?
I'm sorry, we were looking.
You've got some sort of feature that, denotes your neighborhood, some
Yes.
sort of an entranceway feature?
Yes,
Okay, and that entranceway is on the side of the road, or is it in the middle of the road? What is it?
you,
It's on the north and south side.
It's on the
yeah,
north and
if you
south
turn,
side?
if you turn into 741.
And so if somebody goes off the road, they go onto your landscaping or your hardscaping that's there. Is that the problem?
If you turn in to use our entrance as a turnaround, we've had a number of people, we've had to pay to fix it. Like I said, UPS, FedEx, all kinds of people who, especially in the summer, when the traffic backs up because of the sports center up top, they use our neighborhood as a turnaround. They come in, and we have an island that's there. It's got grass, trees, flowers, a fence, it's got a sign.
You use your neighborhood to go from, they're going north or they're going south and to turn around and go the opposite way? That's what you're saying? Or they mistakenly think if they turn into your neighborhood, they can somehow get to 63?
Well, I mean, theoretically, we could easily put up a sign, no through traffic.
Which there's already a no outlet sign though, right?
A little sign up on the top of the street sign, says no outlet.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine putting up a bigger no outlet sign shouldn't be that big of a deal for the engineers.
If it's in public right of way, there's just nothing you can do to control this.
Yeah, I know, we can't control it, other than maybe additional signage of saying no through traffic, no outlet, something like that. I'm sure the engineer's office wouldn't have a problem with putting one of those up, a more significant sign.
All the streets in this subdivision are dedicated to the public, so that the public is responsible for the maintenance of these roads?
Yes, but what she's indicating is at the entrance to Statiscapa Creek off 741, there's an island divider and landscaping that the HOA takes care of. I don't see how that.
Yeah, I understand that, but and so even though that's in the public street, we're not responsible, they're responsible for that. All right, so I don't know what we can do to prevent, it's a public road, so people are legally allowed to turn in there. And obviously, if they're hitting your, maybe there's some way we can put up a bigger sign. But maybe you wanna have some sort of security cameras out there and you can identify the people with a license plate and then go after them, I don't know.
We're a 200, a 95, neighborhood house. We don't have those kind of finances. So,
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, if you want to give us cameras, and we can tell you, when it happens, if,
We're not giving you cameras.
yeah, I mean, that was a given. But yeah, we've had people actually in the summer, in the winter, people just drive right across the lawn there, and we've paid to have it fixed up multiple times. We have boulders around the edges. People hit the boulders and just keep going. You have some kind of damage to your vehicle, you hit a boulder.
But you think that the developments being proposed is gonna increase that issue?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I like the big rock idea. There's a lot of, I mean, this isn't unique to your neighborhood. There's
No.
lots of neighborhoods that this happens in, and a lot of them do have, now that I think of it, the sizable, you buy the $300 rock one time and stick it there, and people hopefully aren't gonna hit
They're
it.
more than
But,
$300.
yeah, our one commitment to you would be, we'll work with the engineer's office and try to get you a bigger no outlet sign that's very distinctive, that's, as soon as you turn in, it's like, oh, wait, I
Could
should
it be
turn in.
illuminated?
I'm sorry?
Could it be illuminated? Like a big neon sign says no through street?
Probably not. It's under state law, exactly what we're allowed to put up, but, yeah, we appreciate your concerns. And the most heartfelt thing from my standpoint is, I've been here long enough to remember, we were the ones, Bruce, that worked on your subdivision, that we approved this, and this was not a done deal, whenever it was, 18 years ago or something? However long we did this, that I'm glad you guys love your neighborhood and you take good care of it, so that's very good
We
to
even
hear.
take care of park property because the park department doesn't, so.
Yeah, I remember that was a big issue of who was gonna take care of the little mini park.
Yep. But,
Well, awesome, so that's what we can do for you. I mean, it's a public road, we can't penalize the public from coming onto a public road. But we can certainly try to tell people this is not a through, there's no outlet, there's no reason to turn around in here.
okay. You mentioned the,
Do you wanna address that, sir? Or-
Commissioner Young, just real quick for the homeowners, the Wawa that's proposed strictly is going to sell gasoline and diesel. They're not gonna attract tractor-trailer traffic with the larger pump. So the only truck traffic that you're gonna see in that area is the refueling, the tanker, that's it. There won't be any tractor-trailer, commercial fueling stations. It's all gonna be for commercial vehicles and trucks. They do sell diesel, but it's for diesel cars and diesel pickup trucks.
Can you identify
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah, Ray Drapp, Warren County zoning, and I have been sworn in.
Thank you.
I know that, it was mentioned that there's gonna be an ODOT report for traffic. Is there a plan to have another traffic light installed in there?
I doubt it, with a major intersection like that with two, you know, state routes. But again, the state controls the ins and outs off of their state highways.
Because coming out of our development, it's hard enough to make a left or a right. And with this traffic, it's gonna be backed up coming out of our development, coming out of Wawa, all going to 63, because they can only make a right. As it is turning into our development from 63, there is no left turn lane, you have to dodge traffic.
I will say that's a very difficult thing to have. Out of my old neighborhood, I fought the same thing on a state route, and we had almost 300 houses in my old neighborhood, and we tried to get a light, and it was next to impossible, because they're all about the flow of traffic. And when you have a light that's gonna be that close to your roadway, I would say it's next to impossible.
Well, there are warrants, or there's specific criteria for determining when you put in a light. It's not determined by us. It depends on whose road it is. In this case, it's a state route, so I assume that ODOT would be making that determination, but they have specific criteria that they use for making that determination. And if the criteria are met, they'll do it, and if the criteria aren't met, they won't do it. So it's not our decision to do that, and you have to meet their criteria to do that, and you can address it to them.
Okay. When is that report due to come out, so that we can address that?
The traffic, is there a traffic study that's gonna be done?
There is an email that we received. We haven't seen the traffic index. I'm not sure if we can switch to this screen though. But we did receive an email, and what you see in bold, it states that it should be noted for this application, once the development of the north side opens up, it is anticipated that a signal will be warranted at the eastmost driveway shown in their plans. And then at that time, that's when the full access drive to the west will become a right in, right out drive.
Is that on 70, or is that on 63?
63.
63,
On
yeah.
the eastmost connection.
Well, that's not what they're talking
So that doesn't have anything to do with 741?
about. No, it has nothing to do
So
with
that's
that.
our question, is when you come up 741, is there gonna be some kind of a signal? Is there gonna be a right turn only lane?
I would address that to, I would copy the Warren County engineer and the ODOT district office, it's literally across the street from your house, and send them a letter and saying, hey, what's the criteria, can you all consider it here?
Right. Is there a construction begin date for this? Like, when are they gonna break ground? When is it gonna be finished?
When do y'all anticipate starting?
We're anticipating starting like the first of next year, and then, the Wawa build opening sometime, hopefully first, second quarter of 26.
Okay.
I have a question. See the.
And your name, sir?
My name's Ted Murphy.
And you've been sworn
I
in?
am so lucky to be, have resident.
Awesome. And you've been sworn in?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
The blue shaded, or the blue outline box below the red, it's not being addressed, obviously, it's not really part of this discussion, but what is that zoned as? Who owns that? And if there's a conservation easement there, or if that's slated to be a conservation area, is there any?
Well, we were told that
information?
it was part of the parcel, I believe. The same parcel, is that right?
That's correct, yeah, it will be subdivided out.
Okay. How many pieces can I get subdivided into, to your knowledge? Is it one, is it two, three? Is it gonna be a park? Is it gonna be
The blue portion?
the blue portion, yeah, the blue
There's
outline portion?
nothing that I'm aware of in terms of anything proposed on that parcel.
Because obviously you can see that affects a lot more homeowners directly, because, you know, the Shoals live on that side.
Yeah, but it's not.
Yeah,
being
but it's
developed as-
owned by Union, or Otterbein, correct?
That's correct.
So, just so you all know, I mean, if Otterbein owns it and they're developing it, there's a good chance that's going to get developed at some point.
But that's not an issue.
But yeah, that's not what, that's for future.
All we know is that that it's part of the same, parcel means that it's part of the same, you know, there's only one parcel here. So it's all owned in one deed, and that's part of it. but they've not submitted a development plan for that.
Okay. Although, I do have one here that says it was approved in March of 2016 that shows a park there for Audubon development, so.
You'd have to talk to Otterbein. We don't know what their development plans
Yeah,
are.
there's no zoning restriction or anything, just because it's a plan somewhere, it would have to do with, like, there's no covenants on it, so it's just their property right now.
Right, yeah, it says part of their master plan, I believe, so, okay.
Yeah, hopefully
Looks to
they
be like
leave it, I
trails
mean,
and
that would be the best case, is but it's Otterbein's decision, do they leave it as open space?
Okay, gotcha.
If
That
they ever
was the
develop
main
it,
thing.
they will be going through an approval process,
Okay.
where you will be notified ultimately,
Okay.
just like you were for this.
And the development on the other side of 63 as well?
On the north, to the north.
Yeah, that's going on right now.
Because they're proposed a grocery store, a strip mall, a few other things. And that, will be notified when they do that as well?
Any new development, well, you wouldn't be because you're not within that area, but we'll publicly notify, in the list in the paper and on our website.
Well, there's a certain distance,
That might be close enough.
yeah, you might be. There's a certain distance where we notify, I don't know how
Yeah, it's
many feet it is.
500 feet?
Mhm.
Yes, so,
Yeah, so we
yeah,
got
I would imagine, yeah, you'll get notified.
Well, but that's 697
7.
feet and
And that's
357 feet, so that's why I was just
Yeah.
Yeah,
thinking
I don't think
We're-
we're.
they're outside the 500 feet.
Well, we're closer to the 357,
Yeah.
so.
You might.
Yeah, but you can keep an eye on the website, I mean, the zoning cases all come up, so. Not sure who gets the newspaper anymore, but, yeah.
Newspapers are hard to find.
Newspaper is not a good way of notifying, I agree.
We're
No,
just
they're hard-
required by
they're hard to
law to
find.
do
We
it
are
that
doing,
way.
we have to do it that way, and we have to give notice to people within a certain distance.
Mhm.
And if you're not within that certain distance, we don't do it because we follow what the law says.
We just wanna make sure we can get a no through traffic sign, that's all, like you guys said.
We will
before.
make that request, I mean, as part, I
I've
mean,
already made a note of that, and I would also say is, Dwayne, I think the gentleman who runs your HOA, and I have been emailing on different items, so I would just ask him to email me periodically, or Susan periodically, and we'll be more than happy to tell you the next time if you're outside that area, you know, what's coming down the pike, so I have open communication with him, so let's just continue to do that.
Well,
yeah, we will try to get you a bigger sign.
I think that's all we have for now.
Thank you, very good questions. See, you shouldn't have been scared, you did great. Anyone else wish to speak in opposition to this? Yes, sir.
I've not been sworn in yet.
Come on up. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, and your name, sir?
My name is Larry Kringle. I'm a resident of the neighborhood as well. My concern was the covenant, environmental covenant, if I can
Go back to that.
bring this picture back up.
We're doing it now.
So, if I may.
Sure.
So, the water actually flows down through here and across. You can see it right here. So, what keeps the runoff from the gas station? And there's always runoff from gas station. Everybody, drops a little bit of gas now and then. What keeps that from flowing into the Little Miami River? If that was the intent of the environmental concern to begin with, what keeps that out of the Little Miami River?
Very good. That is a good question. I'm sure the applicant's done a lot of study on that, and happy to hear a response. That what is, your remediation plan for runoff, that, they're off of asphalt, you've got a creek that's running behind it. What's the plan for keeping it out of the creek?
Do you mind pulling up the site plan? So,
And your name, sir?
I'm Doug Wissey, civil engineer at Kleiners Group. On the
And you-
project, I have this sworn in.
Thank you.
And can you come close so we can hear you in the mic? Thank you.
So just the east of the property, this will be part of this development. It'll be on a separate lot with for the detention basins. If it's not exactly clear, this right here represents your storm retention basin. So all of our runoff will be routed through there, would go through Ohio EPA standards for water quality concerns. Wawa, I don't know particularly for gas mitigation, if they have anything within their pump system that handles that, but it would all go through Ohio EPA approved water quality standards, and then the detention basin there immediately east, and then that basin would be routed to the south.
So basically, you're gonna slope the grade to where it runs into the detention basin?
Exactly, so that your private, so everything on the Wawa side in particular would all go to the east, and then we also have a curb all along the south line of that private drive where that would all get routed back to that basin. So none of that water is flowing due south,
But
it's going to the basin.
once it gets into the basin, then where does it go? It has to follow the topography and go into the river.
Correct, it'll eventually outlet, but it'll go through Ohio EPA water quality standards, so there's
So
certain.
it'll be
yeah.
clean somehow?
Correct, yeah, you basically, it settles through and keeps the pollutants and things out, so it's all through Ohio EPA approved standards.
Yeah, I mean, gas stations in particular have very stringent rules from.
Yeah,
Ohio
that's what I'm saying.
EPA,
I can't speak particularly to the gas station portion of it, but as far as from the site standards and quality, release rates and everything, and the pollutants that are getting out, that'll all go through Ohio EPA approvals. And it'll be per their standards. So none of that water is going directly out of the site, it'll go through that basin before it actually enters back into the creek.
So yeah, all the environmental engineers have studies on that type of stuff, of how long it has to sit in a detention bay, all that stuff that the smart people come up with before it can permeate through the ground or whatever and get out into the stream. So that's above our pay grade, they handle that.
Okay, all right. I did have another question in regards to, with the road access off of 741 there, that's gonna take additional, I guess, trees down. From a lighting standpoint, how do you buffer the lighting coming from the gas station into the neighborhood? Or do you?
I have a feeling there is an answer to that.
Mike Huber, attorney with law firm Dinsmore and Scholl. So when it comes to the lighting, the LED lights that Wawa has are directionally pointed in, and they burn down over time. So when they first come in, you're gonna look up, you're gonna look over the trees, over the gully there, and it's gonna be like, oh wow, Lebanon's playing a football game right now. And then give it a couple weeks, they burn down, but they are all directionally pointed in to just light our site. So nothing's gonna be, you're not gonna see a spotlight swung around back to, I think that's the north, looking through the trees there for that. So as you can see the lighting plan there, all approved, all within the county's requirements for that. So everything is designed to highlight the site and not reflect light back out.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on the group before us addressing those types of issues, and we've got standards that have to be complied with.
All right, thank you. The last question I have is regards to security. If there's an entrance off of 741, is there some sort of fencing that'll go along in there to keep anybody from, leaving the gas station, walking into the neighborhood?
Won't there be significant, I mean, isn't that where the woods are, essentially?
Well, we're cutting a lot of woods down. There's a narrow spot right there in the corner where there's not a whole lot of, if you take it, 2+ acres out of there, it's gonna significantly drop the amount of buffer we have there.
So in addition, sorry, go ahead.
From where the road was coming
Gotcha,
in.
gotcha. So as we have the environmental easement buffer area there, I don't know if we have a picture of it, but the topography there, that would be an extremely difficult area if somebody wanted to leave from the south of the site about.
That's where the creek is, right?
Yeah, you have the creek, you have the grade going down into the creek, and you have the tree foliage cover there. And we are also having to do grading work right behind to shore that up. It would be a pretty difficult jaunt for someone if they wanted to, for some reason, cross through the woods and into the neighborhood. And from the site, especially when it's when the colors are still up, you won't see the subdivision behind it. It'll just look like dense woods and with a drop off and with a wall up where the slope and the grading is, correct?
Yes.
So that's safe, but there's no fencing that would go there, but we do have the grading work that is right there that creates another sort of obstacle besides the environmental covenant area for someone if they wanted to, camp behind the Wawa off of 741.
Just to put a number on that, that creek bed is 30 feet below our site.
Okay.
So the road then is right adjacent to the wall, and then it drops off.
It's just a 3-to-1 slope right from the drive, and then a 3-to-1 slope all the way down to High Creek, so it's a pretty significant drop down the creek.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good questions. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Driscoll Gibbs from Springboro, Clear Creek Township, in the Strong Ridge subdivision. And that water, I've been fighting it for years. Mr. Martin and I have had a few meetings.
Is this particular one? This isn't,
Yeah,
sorry.
I was just gonna say, that's not a part of this. You'll have an opportunity to speak,
That's the
but
next
not for
hearing.
this, not for this, issue.
that's the next hearing.
The-
It's not the next hearing, but
It's just outside of
Oh,
that,
it's
after
outside
the
of-
next
okay.
hearing. Thank you. If you could just hold off until we finish this hearing.
Yeah, 'cause it'll take us a while.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Very good. Anyone else wish to speak on the Wawa matter? Never thought I'd say that. Very good.
Make a motion to close the public
Well,
hearing?
yeah, I've got to do a couple more things here. I'm going to give the applicant the opportunity. Is there anything that you wish to question anyone on at this time? Or present any additional testimony or evidence?
Just one item on one of the conditions, and just a point of clarification that we talked with RPC about at the last meeting. There's a condition that the internal driveways be constructed so that construction can go along the internal driveways. We only ask that when constructing those, we do not have to do final sealing and striping, just so that we don't have to build the roads completely up and then have them torn down by traffic and then have them rebuilt up.
That seems reasonable.
Okay, perfect.
Is there a
Otherwise-
condition that, well, wait a second, was there something that was indicating that you had to do that?
Yes.
But
Yes.
but it wasn't final, was it? It was just they had to construct them.
It didn't say final lit, it's condition number 9.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure it was clear that that was the understanding based off what the conversation we had at the last meeting was that.
Yeah, because you're gonna have construction traffic
Yes,
coming over
yeah,
there.
and that's the only, that's
What
the
does
only
the
thing.
second sentence mean?
So we take it to mean that they would like us to build the internal roadways so that our construction vehicles can use the internal roadways instead of stacking on other locations. We only ask that when we do build those internal driveways for construction purposes, that we don't have to build them to where they're all the way asphalted over, striped, all that good stuff, because the traffic that's gonna come on the site during construction is gonna obviously be harmful to that
Oh,
roadway,
okay,
and then
I-
we would
I-
just have to do it.
I think I get your point. So the question is how that second sentence is interpreted. So.
We could just put a comma.
We could just clarify.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yes.
You can just put a comma saying, but not to final standard or something.
Does RPC have any comment on that, but we could do that.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. Like,
It doesn't have to be accepted. Is this gonna be private or public?
It's gonna be a private road,
Oh,
so there are no standards for a private road.
Okay.
Yeah,
Private
internal
drive.
will be private.
So what they're saying is they do not want to have the internal driveway improvements to be absolutely finished, but only at the stage where they can be used for purposes of constructing the site. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
I think the easier language, so you have a base course of asphalt and a final lift of asphalt, so the final course of asphalt would probably be the easier language, so we put down the base course of asphalt, so it'd still be asphalted, but then the final course would come at a point later after construction is complete.
Okay, can we add that language, Bruce?
Yes.
All right, so it's subject, when we move to approve this, it will be subject to a modification of that sentence with regard to what you just said.
Yeah, so we'll install the base course of asphalt, but the final course of asphalt will come,
All right,
what is that exactly?
What's
Of the
the
zoning
tri-
permit application.
What's the trigger gonna be for that?
We put the final course when Wawa opens for business, so they're gonna want that installed to make it look professional.
How about your CO?
Yeah, so C of O for Wawa.
Yeah.
And the other guys might follow after, but it's less construction, they can deal with that.
okay.
Were there any other questions the commissioners had while we're up here?
No, just, we want to make sure to give you opportunity to question or present anything else.
No, I would like to take the time to thank staff. They've been very easy to work with. They did a great job at making sure that this site was made just perfect for where it's at, taking into account a lot of different factors. So I'd like to thank their professionalism, and I'd like to thank the commissioners for having us out today.
And I'm supposed to ask you, are the records that have, or the documents been presented so far and entered into evidence, those are the ones you want us to use?
Correct.
Yes.
Any others you want to present?
No.
No, not-
Very good.
Thank you.
And final thing to the applicant, we've given you every opportunity to cross-examine, to ask questions, to present evidence. Have we denied you any rights?
No.
Very good, thank you. Hearing no other speakers, I'll entertain a motion at this time to close this administrative hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Very good. We have the opportunity to act on this matter now. We can deliberate. What is the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion that we accept the, this site PUD, Stage 2 in Turtle Creek Township, subject to a based upon staff recommendations and the contingencies, but also based upon a modification of paragraph 9, consistent with the last statement of the applicant.
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Very good. Good luck. Do it right. Very good. Man, I never go over. We have another administrative hearing relative to the Southwest Golf Ranch PUD Stage 2 in Union Township. And thank you to the public for being very respectful and coming and figuring out things directly for yourself. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Cook with the Warren County RPC, and I'll be going over the Southwest Golf Ranch, which is a revised PUD Stage 2 in Union Township. So looking at the subdivision process here.
One second. Since this is another administrative hearing, I'm going to have the clerk go ahead and read into the record.
So the applicant filed the application, site plan, and a letter requesting review of the PUD Stage 2. Legal notice for this hearing was also published in the Journal News on August 4th, 2024, and the legal notices were mailed to the adjacent property owners within 500 feet on July 31st, 2024.
And since this is a new hearing, I'm going to go ahead. If you plan on speaking on this subject, please stand up. Raise your right hand. Do you so solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yeah.
Thank you. And again, just identify yourself and that you've been sworn in before you testify. So now, staff, go ahead and let us know what's going on here.
Very good. So yeah, looking at the stage 2 process, the Regional Planning Commission Executive Committee recommended approval back in June 27th of this year, and here before us is the commissioner's decision. So looking at the project overview, the property owner is Chinar Property Group LLC and Scott and Joe Aston. Site location is 2880 South Route 42. The site area is just over 26 acres, and it's contained within the B2 PUD Community Business Zoning District. Current use right now is a golf driving range and mini golf course. And their current wastewater systems are on site. Here's the vicinity map showing the location of the site, as mentioned off of US 42 on the east side, just north of the King's Electric Services. Here's a site aerial showing the existing conditions on the site. And the reason it's here before you is they're wanting to amend their site plan to include an added new use as an indoor recreational facility, 2 new buildings, and some additional parking to accommodate those. And then just to mention, the previously approved stage 2 included a height restriction on the property for 20 feet. They're wanting to increase that to 35 feet. So looking at the proposal here, again showing the, this is the, shown in red is the indoor recreational facility, which will include 6 pickleball courts, which will be indoor. Also will include 2 outdoor courts, and also 7 golf simulators. There will also be an addition of some golf driving range bays just to the south of that. There are some additional landscaping requirements that we can get into in later conditions of approval, but they're illustrating those shown here on the site plan. Those are proposed mainly along US 42 and along the new proposed building. Here's the zoning and surrounding zoning on the property. Some environmental features. So staff is recommending approval. I won't go through all these, but I'll just touch on a few. Number 4 is the applicant shall conduct or shall contact the Ohio Department of Transportation for review and determine if a traffic impact analysis is necessary, and any improvements from that traffic impact study shall be done prior to stage 3.
Do we really think that's, why are we requiring that?
That'll be really up to the discretion of ODOT with the additional land uses that they're proposing with the added indoor facilities as well as the golf simulators. We don't know, how much traffic, but it'll be up to ODOT's discretion on whether or not that's required or not.
Yeah, because it's, I don't know, in some ways it's like, so they're expanding their business, there's fairly limited traffic going in and out of there right now, so hopefully there's more traffic with more business.
Right.
But do we really need to require an actual full, because it's not like there's a lot of other driveways right around there connecting anything like that. Do we really have to require them to do a full traffic impact study for just expanding their business some?
Right, and I believe that it has been done already, but certainly the applicant can speak on the requirements for that.
Okay, well, that answers that question if it's already, it was just, I didn't want to put something onerous on people of a traffic impact study if they're adding a couple of buildings.
Well, I think the condition is that they have to contact ODOT, and ODOT would let them know if it's required based on the use.
Fair enough, okay.
Number 7, so buildings shall comply with the architectural designs as approved by the Warren County Board of Commissioners. Maximum building height shall be established at 35 feet.
So the 35-foot requirement is because the indoor use now is gonna have golf simulation that.
And the new building, that is the proposed height of the new building.
And so they need 35 foot of roof line in order to do that thing
Yes.
that they're hoping to do.
And what are our architectural designs in number 7?
Yeah, so, and I can go to some of the backup slides, so they do show, here are their proposed elevations. These are, what the applicant is proposing for the indoor recreational facility.
Looks nice.
So that is up to your discretion on, the proposed materials.
So it's aluminum, it looks
elevation.
like, right?
Yes.
So it's with a nice facade on it.
And then just wanted to also highlight number 10, so review and approval from the Warren County Engineers Office and the Soil and Water Conservation District regarding their proposed stormwater management plan. But with that, I can certainly answer any questions, and the applicant is here as well.
Very good. This time we'd like to hear from the applicant.
I screwed up.
Good morning, I'm Craig Abercrombie with Abercrombie Associates. We're the civil engineer. I have been sworn, and we agree with all the recommendations from the RPC. And I'll give you a little background on the traffic study. That's been completed, and the report was done, which indicated no improvements were necessary. We're having that updated as we speak to reflect the 2 additional pickleball courts outside, which our traffic engineer doesn't anticipate.
Does Kevin not own this anymore?
China Property Group owns it. I have the owner and the developer, Keysland Development Services with me.
Okay.
So,
When is this gonna take place?
construction, I would believe, would start probably over the winter. We still, pending hopeful approval this morning, we'll complete the stage 3 plans and then, our site design and final architectural plans and be in for permitting here in the fall.
Okay.
This is Rich Hughes with
I'm
Keysland
Rich
Development
Hughes with,
Services, who's the
Keysland.
developer.
Our plan is to,
And you've been sworn in?
yes, sir, yep. Our plan is to start construction, 4th quarter of this year. And, completion will be, probably sometime mid to late summer next year.
Very good. You guys didn't have any questions for our staff?
Correct. Nope, they've been great as usual.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Anyone wish to speak in opposition to this? That's good news for you guys, seeing none. Does anyone wish to speak in favor? Very good. Once again, we'll give you the opportunity to present any more testimony or any more evidence, or you just want us to use what's already in the record?
Yes, use within the record is fine.
Very good. And for the record, do you have anything else to say on this matter?
We do not.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
I'm the property owner. I have been sworn in. So I really want to thank the staff that they have worked really very nice to get us through here. And as you said, the construction, we would like to begin as soon as the approval process and everything is done. But just one, I would say a request that I have, and it's entirely up to the staff or you guys, is we were told that we would, the building that we are planning to put on needs to be same as the existing building. But if you would grant me to put in contemporary style building, that is what we would like to do it, because everything around the new development that is going in, that is to a contemporary style, and it is all going to contemporary. And even the existing building that was that old ranch looking style, we did after we took over probably about 18 months ago, we did do that last year with painting it and made it nicer. So it has been changed and a lot of improvements have already been done. So this is just a request, if staff and if you would approve it, I would like to completely change it to a contemporary style versus having that same look of the ranch style and all. That's just a request.
Fair enough. And your name again, sir?
My name is Bhavesh Patel.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Staff, what do you, thoughts on that? That, you know, that
Is
it's
that even-
the old style golf ranch, it's been there forever, you know, they wanna update it, put a new facade on it, as opposed to
And
being
how is
consistent.
that different from what I'm looking, this elevation that I'm looking at
Yeah,
with the
what
aluminum
does-
storefront, the translucent, I mean, this looks pretty contemporary, but
Yeah, I don't know if we have any existing slides, but obviously this is what, you know, they're
221,
proposing.
oh yeah, that's,
But obviously, if you guys wanted to speak about that.
Yes, so this was proposed because it was I think it was some kind of a code to have it, to look with the existing one. So the existing was the old style facade, this we made it with the newer facade and everything. So it does look like somewhat kind of a contemporary, but not actually. Remember, just to what that square building with a flat rooftop or something. And again, it's not that something weird want to do it, it's just if you guys are in line with us.
Is this, at this stage, are we determining the elevations and how these buildings look?
Yes.
We did,
Yeah, at site plan review, we dive in, just like you saw in the last one, we would approve whatever their submitted elevations.
So
as
this
part
is
of
their
their
submitted
application.
elevation.
That is correct.
Do you permit them to modify that without coming back to us?
No, so that's why we had that condition of approval saying if you guys approved of it, they would have to do that, or else they would have to come back for you.
Okay, but you've not submitted a different elevation for us to approve.
We have not submitted because I think.
Okay,
that's-
Bruce, how do we deal with
Let me
that?
ask a question here, just as the builder. So what we've got here is, it's a pre-engineered building. We've got metal siding on the east elevation, which is facing towards the driving range. And then on the west elevation, which is the side facing the street, we've gone to more of a wood-type material with a stone wainscoting.
Are you telling me that the building looks the same, it just has the exterior facade has different materials?
Well, that's the question I'm asking. I'm trying to get an understanding, just to hopefully have this request, make more sense to the.
Well, I guess what my first question here is, was this something that was submitted that RPC said no to, or is this sort of a new request upon reflection that you'd like to have done?
To answer your question, it was not submitted, but when we submitted, before we were going to submit this, we had a meeting in, and this was our impression that we had to submit something that would be equivalent or, look the same as the existing building. So that was it. But if, as I said, I'm not, that I want to change it, but if staff, okay, without going back again to you.
Yeah, that's what I think is gonna be the issue for you, is that it will slow down progress, because it will have to go back through that site plan review process and then come back to us again. And then I guess the question that you, sir, are trying to get at as the builder is, are there modifications within this approved facade that could make it more contemporary but not require going back to site plan review? And I don't know I don't know the answer to that question, but it seems to me that if it is not your desire just to go backwards here and we were to approve this, then the guidance that RPC would give you in terms of what conforms with what we've just approved is where that conversation would need to be.
Is what you're requesting to change the pitch of the roof, because there's a pitch that's on this, is it to change the shape and size of the building? Is it to change the material that is being put on the facade or the material? In other words, I heard something about it having wood siding as opposed to whatever that is. What is the change that you want?
So it is definitely not to the change of the size of the building, it's just the look of the building, the facade and the roof. Those were the major
So
exterior.
you wanted to change the pitch of the roof?
Exterior.
You wanted a flatter pitch?
Yes.
They want a flat roof, it sounds like.
You want a completely flat roof?
At 35 feet, which is, I guess, where the issue is gonna be.
Okay,
We're
so you-
increasing the allowable height of the building from 20 feet, because the idea is we didn't want more than a 2-story building there, to now adding 1.5 stories on top. And to do a flat roof, that's gonna look very different than the pitched roof. I'm not saying I have no opinion about it, but I can understand the conformity to the site where, it definitely will dramatically change what that building looks like
Yeah.
on the site.
From
So
my
then, you know what,
standpoint,
then I think I'll just take it back, I think I can just talk and let's just forget about it, I guess. I'm sorry, let's just forget about it, and let's just go with what it is, because I don't want to make things complicated and go back again and do that and waste any more time, because we are planning to start the construction soon, so I think, let's just forget about it. What I said, let's just forget about it. I'm
Just
fine with it.
rewind tape and start a
Yes.
do-over.
I mean, I don't care if you, me personally, I'm okay with you changing it, but the problem is the process is a process where we're approving this specific thing. And so I don't know whether we can modify it on the fly right here today.
I think that's, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Thank you very much for taking me.
Okay?
Thank you.
I would say that if we make any modifications to the building, we will present it to staff and, you know, we'll try to, if there are changes, hopefully they will be such that they can be approved by staff without further.
Well, I asked the staff, are you able to change the pitch of the roof? Are you able to allow them to change the facade material without coming back to us?
No.
But you could
But-
perhaps agree to, instead of this aluminum that looks like wood, to be on the horizontal versus the vertical, so, or the vertical versus the horizontal. So the vertical is on one of those elevations, that's a more contemporary view than that on the horizontal, for example. So it's the same material, the same look, but limited modifications on how it may appear on the facade.
Are we approving a siding material with this, a specific siding material?
It's listed on this elevation.
Yeah,
What does
because
it
there's a big
say?
difference. It does come before us. Is this just gonna be a pole barn, or do we require something nicer? And so, yeah, this is the stage. We as the community are saying we want something nicer than a pole barn.
And it has hardy plank siding on there, but it's showing that run on the horizontal. So perhaps that could be run on the vertical if you wanted it to be. But you're showing cast stone, hardy plank siding, aluminum storefront doors. You've sourced the Coachman steel garage door. I mean, this looks like you've already fully sourced the materials, what it's gonna be, and that's what we're approving.
I would agree.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's this materials, you know, and obviously with staff, as long as it's not a major modification and you wanna change something aesthetically, but we want nice stuff. We want this to, I mean, this is a major road right there. You're gonna be very, very visible to this major road. We want it to look nice. And it looks like that's what you're trying to do, because the west elevation, it's actually facing the road. You've got some stone on there and things like that. So again, that's good for your business if it looks nice and appealing to the public. It's a first-class operation. That's good for your business. And that's what we're just trying to ensure, that we don't want to give kind of an open, oh yeah, you can change it, and then all of a sudden we get a pole barn.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, if there's things that are minor along with this and you want to work with staff, I mean, as long as it's, you know, the scope and the intent of this meeting is to make it look nice and have high-quality building materials used, if there's a minor something within that intent, I don't particularly have a problem with that.
And I could offer up, I meet with RPC on a consistent basis. If you go through an RPC and if I feel it's something that would warrant a discussion with the board, I can let you guys know and kind of be that in between.
Fair enough, thank you.
All right, fair enough. And to the applicant, have we given you every opportunity to present all the evidence that you've wanted and cross-examine whoever you've wanted?
Yes.
Thank you. Very good. Is there a motion to close this administrative hearing?
So moved.
And or roll call?
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
And what is the pleasure of the board?
I would move that we approve this, revised stage two PUD as presented by RPC.
Second. With the conditions,
Yeah, with the conditions, provided by RPC.
and that was the second. Roll call?
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Good luck with the new business.
Commissioner Young, just real quick, I know you talked about efficiency of government. I've already received a text from Turtle Creek Township, and they will take care of the sign for the previous hearing that we had.
Music to my ears. That was our last agenda item. We do have a couple more minutes, sir, if you'd like to address the board.
Chris Gold.
My name is Driscoll Gill, and I have a water problem in Clear Creek Township.
Okay.
And it's been created much more than what it was. I don't know just how it was, but I have a 30-foot easement. Well, I've got a 15-foot easement, and my neighbor has a 15-foot easement. Gives a 30-foot easement through the two properties. There was a pond in and above me. The guy bought it, well, the guy that did own it sold it. The guy that bought it, he thought he could fill it in, and build on it, I guess. He couldn't fill it in, or it's not been filled in. It's all grown up, it was cattails. Well, they came in this last week, and they cut the cattails down and left all that stub there, which we get stormwater. It's going to carry right down to where I'm at. So they've been trying to flood me out for I don't know how many years. But I'm still here for the blessings of the Lord. And I'm still having problems with that water. And I have what I do with my pictures. Here.
Are you saying that
And
your
Mr.
neighbor
Martin here.
is making modifications to his property, pond or something like that you believe could change the water flow onto your property?
They
From
did.
his property?
They put it all on me.
Yeah, my question is, are you saying that there are modifications being made by your next door neighbor, who's a private property owner, that is affecting how water flows onto your property?
Well, I don't even talk to the neighbors. I did ask them at one time. There was two doctors bought the property next to me.
Yes.
The boy that built it bought the lot to start with from Mr. Abernathy, the way I understand it.
But here's my point. If you have a neighbor that is modifying how water flows onto your property, this is your two private property owners, I don't believe, I'll ask our counsel, but that gives you perhaps a private right of action where you should go see a private attorney to see whether or not you're being adversely impacted by what they're doing, but that actually isn't something that we would be involved with. Bruce, am I wrong about that?
That's correct. Mr. Gibbs' property, I brought it up here on the auditor's website for you. It's on the projector there, Mr.
Can you give me the street address, just so I can?
Mark Sperling, let's see if I can see it right there on the left, up on your screen.
Lark Spur.
or
Larkspur, okay.
Larkspur
He,
Court.
he lives at 7328 Larkspur Court, Springboro.
It's on
This
the
is
map,
off
Mr. Gibbs.
Bunnell Hill Road.
Right.
And this is his lot 186. And what he's originally referred to, the 30-foot, 15 on his side is this easement here. 15-foot, I assume is for drainage. Mr. Gibbs, are you talking about the property owner across the road that's
Well,
doing
now
this, or
there's
the
one-
guy next to you, the house next to you?
Well, I've got one next to me, and I got one across the road. The one across the road had this little stream kept it wet, and they was having trouble, I guess, the lady was keeping it mowed. So she called, and Mr. Chuck Petty was the one that came. I happened to see him walking it. Well, the next thing I knew, the county came in, or the township came in. They cut the ditch. Not only down Meadowview away, and that's where I noticed the water seepage, they cut it up Larkspur way, up to the driveway. So that part don't seem to be right. I was told that by one of the people. I've been through this thing for years. Martin knows that.
All right, so the answer to Commissioner Grossman's question is, this 15-foot easement is on private property. It's not in the county road right-of-way, so the county doesn't have any rights or obligations.
Well, now the county road,
to
excuse me,
resolve that.
the county road, the water flows down the county road from the pond. It flows from the government center at Clear Creek Township. And they've just put 2 ponds in up there across from where they put the new fire department. And the way I understood it before they started it, they're gonna put they're gonna put they're gonna put a fire department. They put the police department and the fire department they're gonna put in. Well, when I got to find this, for some reason, they changed and went with the 2 ponds up on the side of Bunnell Hill and the police department. But now they've bought into the city, I understand. And them and the city are building a fire department over off of 741, right across from Bunnell Hill Road. Not Bunnell Hill Road, Alive 5 Point Road, where the Noel Easton farm was sold out. Somebody bought it, and they're gonna be building there. So you can see how much they paid for that land, but they don't take care of the property. But now Mr. Abernathy still got his hands in.
Sir, I see where the Clear Creek Township Police Department is, north of 73. I'm looking at your map now.
North of 73.
But there's multiple other houses in between you and them.
That's right. But originally, it was to be right up above me. You know where the township fire department or the administration building?
Yeah, I'm still,
And the new fire department.
so there's a ditch along the street in front of your house, and you're complaining that the county actually mowed it?
I have to mow it.
Okay, you
I
mowed
don't
it.
mow it.
So what has the county done to make this worse, or?
What did they make it to work? It was Mr. Abernathy. I've got the paperwork.
Yeah, and what Commissioner Grossman's saying is if your next door neighbor did something to his property, okay, he made a change to his property and it had an adverse effect on yours, then we as government, we can't do anything about that. You have to go to
Mr. Abernathy owned that land at the time. That guy bought it, and I was talking to him. He talked to me before he bought it, And he said water didn't bother him that much. Okay, what can I do? I said, won't you call Mr. Abernathy? He said, I can't. He said, my dad works for him.
Yeah, but again, that's between you and your neighbor.
No, that neighbor's dead.
Well,
He
the new
ended
neighbor,
up killing himself.
whoever lives there, that's between you and them.
No,
If
that's
they-
not between men, because we're both involved in it. Because 15 feet's on Mount, 15 was on me. So,
Well, what did the, how is, so my question is this: what have we, as the county done, or the county engineer done, or some county building, how have we adversely impacted your water runoff or water coming onto your property? In other words, what
Have you
dog do
been-
we have in this fight here?
you've been down 73, so.
Well, sure, but I'm asking you, what is it that you're complaining about that relates to something that we did? That we, the county
I
engineer?
thought everybody in these elected offices supposed to keep up with things and keep them as they should be.
Yeah, but
I've
that
got a
was my
blueprint,
question to you
and I
is-
picked it up right over here in the office, or upstairs.
See, that was why I wondered whether the problem with the deviation, I'm assuming that what you're saying is that somebody made a change that caused your property to have more water flowing onto it than previously. And I think what you're saying is that that was done by a private property owner that is either next door or nearby.
No, now, wait,
Am I wrong?
yes, you're wrong.
Okay, please tell me how the county's involved.
How the county's involved?
Yes.
It's coming right down from the government center.
The government center is
That
causing
big-
the problem?
That big ditch at the government center. And it is still coming down into the ponds above.
We changed the ditch?
Huh?
We changed the ditch?
That has been cut over there,
It's
bud.
the government center.
It's Clear Creek's government.
Clear Creek, down
And they
Buttle,
even,
and
from
there's a
them
lake across the
ditches
street.
and ponds that they put in.
Yeah, but
I don't know,
when did this,
imagine.
when
Don't know,
did this
and there's
change be
multiple-
made?
And there's multiple houses between him and them.
When was that government center put in?
But Clear Creek is home ruled, correct?
They are, I'm not sure.
The government,
This subdivision was put in 27 years ago.
There's been no change since then.
Well, he's now saying that, but the government center has been there probably as long.
at least, oh, no, the government center's probably been, the new government center has been there probably 12 or
I think you'd be
But,
surprised.
but recently,
years.
but recently Clear Creek Township added a new police and facilities building.
Facility
Coming down.
to the north.
So are you saying that the new police facility is what's caused a change in the water flow into your property?
Yeah, so I guess
It don't help you none the more they put over into that ditch, taking it into the two ditch, tile that comes under 73.
Have you gone to Clear Creek Township to talk about this issue?
Huh?
Have you gone to the Clear Creek Township trustee meeting to talk about this issue?
Well, let me show you something here. And you do have a copy, I guess, of subdivision, the covenant.
Oh,
This is the covenant Mr. Abernathy had brought out.
Bob Abernathy was the
Yeah.
developer as Stone.
And
This subdivision.
I mean, I'm familiar with this. This is where I live for 20-some years.
I went to the homeowners, it's a homeowners association.
They have an HOA and this is a
Mr.
declaration, which is a
Abernathy
private document. It's
went
nothing
in,
to do with
put it into the homeowners association. Well, I went to the last meeting, which I went to them before, but I'd been run out of the government center there on 73, the township. They asked me to get out. When I brought the situation up, That's been a few years ago. And I think I've talked to Russell about it. And
It just,
I went to the township, we only have one meeting a year. And I hadn't went to it in a year or so, so I went to it this year on the 16th of April. And right here's the letter.
Which is fine, sir. We're just trying to cut to the chase. What are you asking us to do?
I'm asking you to do something about what Chuck Petty told me the first time I had him there. He said, Bud, he said, it shouldn't cost you nothing.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do.
Huh?
I'm gonna ask our county administrator to contact Clear Creek Township and ask them what's going on.
I think I've been a part of the process for a decent amount of time. I've had conversations with the engineer's office. They've looked at some opportunities, and this is going back a little bit historically, as to some of the water flow on Bunnell Hill, and the dollar amounts were more than, I think, the OPWC grant that they were going forward. He's had, I've actually spoken with Clear Creek Townships, I mean, not necessarily recently, but historically through this with their administrator, Matt Clark, and on items. They also contend it's a private matter, and I don't think have any resources that they want to put into it. I actually have gone to Soil and Water, and I got Molly Conley involved, and I asked Molly Conley and her staff to look at the scenario. They actually, in partnership with the engineer's office, sent Mr. Gibbs a letter stating that the flow of the water was, these are my words, but were appropriate, and that they could offer some technical support. And what Bruce has here on the screen is what we recently sent to Mr. Gibbs, was this plat, and Ashley helped me with it, and we highlighted this condition that those 15-foot easements that he has and his neighbor has are private easements and are subject to the landowner's responsibility. And I assume that Mr. Gibbs received that in the mail. And so I don't want to speak for Bruce, but I think we've gotten to the point where the engineer's office looked at it, Soil and Water looked at it, Clear Creek looked at it, and the easements are there, but it is a private matter. And I think Mr. Gibbs is in objection to that. Bruce, did I miss anything?
That's correct, yeah, it's outside the public right of way. The county has no responsibility to get involved in this. Whether there is reasonable use is the doctrine that's applicable that Commissioner Grossman is getting around to. That's a private civil matter, and he'd have to retain his own attorney to pursue some claim relating to that.
Okay. And it isn't even appropriate for us to get involved.
Huh?
It isn't even appropriate for us to get involved in this.
It's not a what?
I'm sorry. It's not even appropriate for us to be involved in a private dispute.
Private? It was by the owner of Mr. Abernathy at the time.
I know.
He's the man that cut the creek as it is.
I know, and it's a private individual.
And he sold the lot to the guy that had the house built.
Sir, you're answering your own question. Someone sold a private lot, your neighbor, someone owns that next door to you. Someone changed something on their property, and now it's hurting you with more water. But that's, under the law, that's between you and him.
That guy killed himself.
But someone owns it now.
Yes, there's two doctors that owns it.
Oh, okay, your issue is with them and the two doctors. It's not government.
Well,
Under the law, we can only get involved in what we can get involved with, sir.
I guess what the homeowners association don't mean anything.
It doesn't, honestly, to us.
Well, it states it does.
It's not.
Warren County and Abernathy needs to be involved in this to resolve it.
But they're misguided, they're just not, they don't know what we're telling you to be the case.
Well, I've even took it to them, and that's the reason I got the letter.
Yeah, well, I understand.
And they was the one that put the letter out. So in other words,
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, sir, obviously, we try to help people, but under the law, we are very limited in what we're allowed to do between two private property owners.
Well, like I said, Mr. Abernathy was the property owner at the time the survey was made. I guess it don't mean nothing.
Honestly, it doesn't, because it's
Survey.
your next door neighbor and you. Someone owns that property and it's not government.
If it ain't government, I don't know what it is.
It's two doctors, you said.
There's two doctors that bought the house,
Right, so they own it.
often the guy that killed himself,
That-
or often his family.
That doesn't matter. So there's two doctors that own it,
Well, it
and
does.
your problem is with your neighbor.
In other words, they can come, they can build a house any way they want to. There's supposed to be a distance between the properties. But I asked him to come down and he called water and soil guy, in which I had to come with him. He would come and bring him with him. But now,
They're the experts. They handle these issues across the entire county, the soil and water folks. And when they tell us this is a private matter, that means it's between you and your neighbor, and we're not allowed to get involved.
well, buddy, the road comes right on down and it runs right down. My driveway is higher than the blacktop now.
Yeah.
It's sunk. What did they do? Fill all that in? And they didn't do it right? And coming down Meadowview there then, the tile they put under there, well, you'd have to see it to believe it. When the
And
first time the soil and water guy looked at it.
And the other thing is, sir, Clear Creek Township has their own government, and we're very limitedly involved with what they do. And if it's coming from their government center and they're doing the water flow, it's not us.
Well, buddy, I don't know, I've had an attorney, and I got the letters here somewhere for them, and I've got a film here where they ran me out of the government center up there because of this, and come down here, and it's getting no further, don't seem like. In other words, it don't appear to me that they are any such thing as a law. They just do as they please, these builders do. And that is they're supposed to have 300 feet of leach field for each bedroom in a home there. My house on the corner is the only one that has that I know of. And one next to me.
But so you're going into stuff that, honestly, if you're getting into things about how big a house is next to you, that's outside of our.
I've even had the health department in on it, sir.
Yeah.
And the last lady that came, I took her over and showed her what we had. He said, "Oh, you need to get the EPA involved on this." Well, I tried that. The reason she called me back. She's the only one that did call me back.
It sounds like Martin's called you back.
Huh?
I think Martin's called you back.
Martin.
Martin Russell.
We've talked several times.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
him called different times. He didn't answer every time. He didn't recall it.
Well, you said the only one that's ever called you back, so Martin's called you back.
Well, he's trying to call me back, he said. And I've told him and left him messages out of it.
Yeah. Sir, all I'm saying is, what you're asking us, under the law, we can't do anything about it. And that's the final answer. So I'm sorry.
I guess that's the end of that.
He's our attorney, and when he's telling us we can't do anything,
Well, my attorney, I got the letters, where I got them at here. And it's trespass.
Fair enough. And again, yeah, I would encourage you to talk to your attorney and go down that route. But we were supposed to be a hard stop at 10:30, so we've tried to be respectful, and good luck with your problem, but it's just not us.
It's not you.
100% not us. Not even a little bit us.
It may stop here and it may not. So all I can say is there's something not followed through with.
Yes, sir. Well, good luck to you.
Well,
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
And yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil, for your time.